Hey, it's Matt from Custom Car Grills here with a mesh install for the lower grille on a 2024 Mustang GT. This is the second piece for the car that we've made, and linked in the description is the top grille install. Right from the get-go, I want to mention that this is currently not recommended for Mustangs equipped with sensors that are behind the grille, but this does work fine for the ones not equipped with sensors. Also, before I start, the grille shown in the video is technically an EcoBoost, but overall the installation process is the exact same for the GT. With the grille off the bumper and face down, let's get the Dremel out and equip it with the number 543 cutting and shaping wheel. On the area here, there's a couple of protruding dividers that need to be trimmed off. It's just a simple and quick cut that will make the next steps easier. And speaking of which, we're now going to make some big cuts on the perimeter while staying about 1/8 to 1/4 inch away from the edge that we want to keep. Since all of this is black on black, it's hard to get on video exactly where I'm cutting, but let's zoom in a little bit to get a different angle. Most of these initial cuts can be made on the back of the grille, and you'll quickly find out that the blade won't be able to go all the way through some spots. For right now, the most important thing to keep in mind is to not cut the edge that we want to keep, and this edge will be clearer to see soon. Some of the remaining cuts will need to be made from the front like this, and then we'll need to work on the left and right ends. These top and bottom areas look pretty good since they're fully cut through, but there's a center bar on the side and lower corner that need to be taken care of. On some GT lower grills, this side area might also be solid all the way through. The sidebar on this EcoBoost is an easy cut, but proceed with caution when it comes to these lower corners. With all the tough cuts made, let's do the final cut in the solid center area. I saved this for the end so that we had a nice solid foundation that holds the grille together while we cut the rest. If your vehicle is equipped with a sensor in the bumper, it should be behind this cover. And again, if you have the sensor in your vehicle, this mod will not work as the sensor won't be able to work through the mesh that we're going to put in place. Okay, now with all the cuts made, let's lift out the center and throw it away. I finally have a good clear view of where I was trying to say that we should be cutting. It was right behind the raised ledge with a small bit left before we go into the edge that we want to keep. On the back of the grille, we now have a little extra material that we need to cut so that the back edge of the grille is going to be flat and even across the whole grille. It's very important to save these tabs here. Make sure not to cut those tabs off during this step. Like before, I'll be making these cuts close to the edge while leaving a small amount so that it can be sanded down later. Just keep a steady hand so that you don't cut into the area more so than you want. The top of this number 543 cutting wheel is super abrasive and can make for a quick sander in small spots. I like pointing the Dremel down and then making a few light passes on the back to knock down the excess that was left. Of course, don't dig in too much here. We don't want to over sand this part because it can make the grille look wavy later on if we do so. By now, the top and bottom edges, as well as the back, will be taking shape pretty well, but the left and right sides will be a little rough. The toughest spot to deal with on this whole project will be these lower corners. It's a fairly sharp angle that makes it hard to get tools in there easily. If you take your time and slowly make some precise cuts, this area can be refined down to a reasonable degree and then sand it down later by hand. Here's a quick look at how my lower corners look now. There's a little bit of material left that needs to be tightened up, but overall this is looking pretty crisp. Next, let's get a sander out and equip it with a coarse sanding disc. To get the inside edge looking better, I'll take this a step further by evening out the high edge near the back. In the end, this will look cleaner having the edge all at one height compared to a mismatch height. Overall, I'm taking this fairly slow, making sure not to over sand the area. In this close-up, you can see I still have a little bit left over which I need to refine. If you don't have a powered sander, that's okay. This can be done by hand with a sanding block. I have a long block that's wrapped with some 180 grit sandpaper which works through this edge at a reasonable rate. This might be something that you could use a 80 grit or 120 grit on as well if you're not sanding at a furious pace. Keeping the sanding block level and making broad strokes with the block will get you good results. I think that ideally a dual action sander with a medium grit paper will get you the best finished look. These generally will get into the edge easier, and the dual action orbit will leave a nice smooth finish. Of course, there will be the super tight corners where almost no sander will reach, and this is the point of the install where we're going to need some elbow grease. I wrapped just a little bit of 180 grit sandpaper on a Bondo spreader and then went to work on both sides of the corner. This isn't a very fun step, but it's needed to get a nice good clean look when we're done. Here's how my grill turned out before we get to painting it. Overall, it's super smooth, and I think that we made this hollowed out grill look about as OEM as we can get it. The back is nice and flat, and this will be important for the mesh install and getting a nice flush fit between the mesh and frame. If you want a good rattle can paint job, then the Spray Max Filler Primer along with their matte black trim paint will give you a nice professional result. I ended up going a different route and did a 2-stage paint job of black and then clear to get this gloss black finish, which will mirror the same paint job that we did on the upper grill. Now, let's check out the pre-cut mesh piece that we have for sale on our website. We have one that's pre-cut specifically for the EcoBoost as well as one specifically for the GT. In both cases, these are made from our 1/4-inch hexagon mesh pattern and finished off in a gloss black powder coat. Let's flip the grill face down to begin the install. Then we can come in with the mesh piece and it will lay flat on the back like so. And this is precisely why we wanted the back of the grill frame to be uniformly flat. The mesh piece will look seamless now when the install is completed. To temporarily tie the mesh to the frame, I'll grab some cable ties and foam. The foam is used to protect the finish of the grill frame, while the ties will hold the mesh in place while adhesive cures. It's a natural choice to position these ties where the bumper tabs are, like what I'm showing here. Just run the tie from the inside of the tab around the inner part of the grill frame and then through the mesh and connect up the tie on the back of the grill. Having the head of the tie rest on the back of the mesh will give us a nice good firm hold. Of course, I don't want to tighten down these ties too much to the point where we start to distort the grill frame. We're looking for a moderate hold so that the mesh doesn't move and so that we don't have gaps, but not much of anything more than that. Navigate all the way around the perimeter of the grill until the whole mesh piece is secured on, and then let's check out our work real quick. This is looking pretty good. I don't see any gaps and there doesn't appear to be any distortion in the grill frame. I think we're good to go with the bonding of the mesh now. Let's cut the tail ends of these ties off real quick before we get started. I really just don't want these getting in the way of the next step. Just like with the video for the top piece, it's a choice between automotive goop and plyo grip plastic repair number 3. I'm going to go with the plyo grip because I like how quickly it cures. If you want to pursue a cheaper option of using the goop, I'll link my top grill video in the description so that you can see how to use it. With the plyo grip, this is easy to dispense on and around the mesh. Just make sure to not spill any of this through the front area, as that'll be really hard to clean up. I like to use a brush after some is dispensed so that I can even out the coverage and get a better overall bond. The plyo grip cures fairly quick, so I need to move at a fairly fast pace before it starts to set up. Total cure time of the goop method is a full 24 hours, but with the plyo grip plastic repair number 3, it's about 30 minutes. After mine's hardened up, I'll cut the ties off. This is now ready for reinstallation. Let's flip it around and see how it looks. Oh wow, check this out. How nice does this look all glossed out and meshed up. Here's a couple of pics from Warlord S650 of the top and bottom grill combo. I've got his channel linked in the description. Go check it out and show him some love. He's got some really great Mustang content on his channel. And well, that's all I have for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you want to subscribe, then that'll help out the channel quite a bit. And thanks for watching.